All right, now after the flash floods devastated Uttarakhand's Dharali village and nearby areas, the residents living in Uttarkashi are staring at a pretty bleak reality. The Indian Army at this moment is using some high-tech radar systems to locate those who are feared to be trapped in the debris. The rescue teams are continuing with their evacuation operations since the past 5 days, and so far at least about 800 civilians have been rescued. Now, the army is using some advanced penetrating radar to remove the debris and to search for people who are still trapped in this debris. Now, these radars can detect people or the dead bodies present up to 20 feet below the ground without any digging requirements. At the moment, Dharali and Harshil stand completely isolated due to the road collapse and the bridge collapse. Helicopters and Chinook aircraft continue to send food items to the devastated region, and the authorities have set up 24-hour kitchens in Dharali and Harshil areas. The police, the SDRF, the NDRF, the ITBP, the Army, the Fire and Revenue Department teams are engaged in the relief and rescue efforts.
We have approximately 290 people in our army hangar. Out of these, 232 have been sent so far. About 230 more survivors are there who need to be evacuated. Apart from this, 5 JCBs have been deployed for rescue operations, along with troops from ITBP, NRF, SDRF and Dog Squad. They are searching for the missing people inside the debris. So far, out of 8 villagers, the body of 1 has been recovered, while 7 are still missing. 8 army personnel are reported missing, and about 20-25 laborers are also missing.
Now, the Uttarkashi DM Prashant Arya has said that nearly about 100 people have been shifted today, and that work is currently underway to build a connecting road in Dharali. He's also added that power supply has been provided to Dharali through the hydropower project.
Evacuation में हमारे लोकल के लोग जो जाना चाहते थे अपनी किसी भी कारण से देहरादून या उत्तरकाशी, उनको हमने एयरलिफ्ट करा दिया है। यात्री एयरलिफ्ट हो गए हैं। अब कुछ गांव के लोग बचे हैं लगभग 100 के आसपास, जो आज पूरा शॉर्टी में लग के उनको हम लोग शिफ्ट करा देंगे। साथ ही जो राहत सामग्री वितरण का बाकी काम थे वो हमारा कल से चालू है। परसों ही हमने शुरू कर दिया था, लेकिन वो पर्याप्त संख्या में नहीं होने की वजह से मैन पावर की दिक्कत आई थी। मैन पावर भी हमने मंगा ली है उत्तरकाशी से, तो अब डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन काम प्रॉपरली चल रहा है। और रोड के बारे में अपडेट देना है कि धराली में हमारा कनेक्टिंग होने वाली है, रोड कनेक्ट हो जाएगी धराली में। आगे गंगनानी में ब्रिज भी, बेली ब्रिज पड़ चुका है, शाम तक वो भी फंक्शनल हो जाएगा।
Now, hailing India's rescue operations, Nepal's Prime Minister KP Sharma Oli has also requested India to search and rescue 17 Nepali workers who have gone missing in the Uttarakhand floods. All right, now joining us on the broadcast, we've got Professor C.S. Dubey, who's a renowned geologist and also currently serves as the Executive Director of the Normie Research Foundation. Professor Dubey, thank you very much indeed for joining us here on WION. Now, this is a tragedy that one hopes did not happen, but the fact is the Himalayas are young, fold mountains, and these flash floods have wreaked havoc and have brought life to the standstill. I want to know from you, because of the topographical nature of Uttarakhand and also the place where these flash floods have happened, how difficult is the search and rescue operations that are now being done, because nearly 800 people have been rescued so far?
Yeah, look, because of the floods, when it happens, and I have already talked, basically rocks are generally very low-grade metamorphic rocks. That means they are very fragile, and generally big boulders, when they come on those fragile rocks, they speed up and come very fast on the alluvial fans where this has happened, previous old alluvial fan. And you can see that the amount of mud which has accumulated in the portion is so much, maybe more than 10 meters or 7 to 8 meters. It is very difficult to do any kind of survey through a like from GPR, unless it GPR generally ground penetration radar works when there is a smooth surface. On the rough surfaces, it is very difficult to work on those. Even the resistivity or other kind of surveys, they don't work, ERT surveys, etc. The only thing that they can do it by manually, and you can see that most of the works have been going on manually, and there are dumpers, there are excavators, and they are trying to excavate the mud and try to find out if there is something out over there.
Right. And also, the fact that the river Kir Ganga, which had shifted its trajectory per se, and this particular part of the town, which got washed away in Dharali, was built on the floodplains of the Kir Ganga. Looking at this, do you not think the administration should take some lessons here, that there needs to be surveys that should be done so that permissions are not granted for construction and developmental activities to be done in areas where the rivers have recently changed course?
Yeah, look, what happens is generally, you have to look at the old maps, and you have to take up the new maps, and you have to have the chain detection, we call it as. So you have to make a detection of what changes are taking place in the geomorphology, in the rainfall, in the slopes of the structure and the structures, and where you have if you have slopes which are vulnerable, you have to do some kind of shortcreting. Nowadays, quite good methods have come up for shortcreting and making those slight portions stable. And even the roads, which they are making are very good. There are new roads which are coming up, metal roads. So you have to design things in the proper manner, and you have to see it. First, you have to prepare a disaster management plan, a long-term plan that what problems could occur, looking at the top through the GIS, remote sensing, and then working on the lower level by individual at 1:1 and 1:500 scale, or 1:100 scale, or 1:1000 scale, which is very nearby. So you have to look at a very a concise way and look at that what has to be done in those areas where people are living, because they will not go. I remember a landslide happened in 1997 in Sikkim Himalayas, and it was of the same kind.
Right.
The boulders came down by the heavily urbanized area, and suddenly a rainfall of more than 150 millimeter in 3 to 4 hours, and everything fell. But the main thing was that there were no plans, and then there was no even the kind of, you should have more rain instruments, to look at what is the rain in those areas. So right from the beginning, you have to make some plans over there.
Right.
And in Sikkim now, they have shifted the portions from this portion to another place. They are not urbanizing, and they have stopped the urbanization in those portions.
I think those are some of the lessons that we'll have to take forward. Thank you very much indeed, Professor Dubey, for joining us with that perspective there.
Thank you.
For all the latest news, download the WION app and subscribe to our YouTube channel.